Hi guys, welcome back. So today we've got something really exciting. We're starting off the exchange program for the Wavetrac differential for the BMW M2, M2 Comp, M3 and M4. So F87, F80, F82, F83 M cars can all upgrade to this Wavetrac differential. So basically what we're doing is we are removing the factory electronic limited slip differential and upgrading it to the Wavetrac which you've got here in front of us. And obviously it's quite an extensive process on this particular axle because the ring gear is actually welded to the differential. So it complicates things a little bit, but we've been doing these for sort of like 5-10 years now. So it's a simple process for us, and we're basically going to walk you through the process from start to finish. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll get an immediate notification of when our next video goes live. So we've got a standard axle here in front of us. So this doesn't actually have the servo motor attached to it. That's been removed because we're not going to need it anymore. And basically the electric servo motor usually attaches onto here and basically can vary the locking of the differential depending on what sort of parameters it receives from the various sensors in the car. But one of the big problems with these is that it's really limited by obviously electronics. So there's like a lag time there. So there's a delay in from like the inputs to it actually doing something, and then also there's various different temperature limits as well. Temperature limits for the differential oil itself, temperature limits for the servo motor, and then temperature limits for the controller as well. So you've got 3 different temperature limits on this particular diff, and once it exceeds one of those, it basically opens up fully. We've got a couple of customers and friends based in the US. One of them, Tie Speed, his differential basically went open when he was running up the Pikes Peak, which we'll show you an image of. But yeah, basically upgrading it to the Wavetrac differential today. As you know, the Wavetrac differential is the only ATB on the market that can still bias power when there's a loss of axle load. So just to go over how it does that, it's got a device in the center which is patented, so you won't ever find it in any of the other ATBs in the market. And what that allows it to do is when basically there's wheel slip, when there is suspension unloading, like when you're cornering really hard or you're lifting a wheel, the Wavetrac can still continue bias power across the axle. All other ATBs won't work in this condition, and they'll just work like an open differential. And obviously if you're upgrading or looking to upgrade the M2, M2 Comp, M3, M4 differential, you don't want to downgrade to an ATB that has a problem. So the Wavetrac solves that. Perfect for road use, track use, drag strip use. There's very limited servicing requirements, so obviously just service it as BMW usually recommends, and obviously lifetime warranty even for pure motorsport use, which is really rare. So obviously you can take it to the Nürburgring, take it to anywhere in the world, on the track, drag strip, on the road, and it's got a lifetime warranty, so it's not going to break. So anyway, we're going to get this stripped down, show you some of the internals, get it on the bench, show you some of the machining and stuff like that. Hope you enjoy it. So we've got the E-LSD open here in front of us. Obviously this is the axle housing. This is the OEM E-LSD, and then we've got the Wavetrac upgrade here. So as you can see, this diff is the same as most of the other current BMW axles in that they're friction welded together. So this means we're going to need to separate the ring gear away from the differential, so then we can basically take off this ring gear, install it onto the Wavetrac, and then obviously install it into the axle. But before we do that, I just wanted to show you how the E-LSD actually works. So basically, this is like a conventional axle, but it's also got an opening here where the servo motor fits in, and the servo motor basically attaches onto this piece here, which spins freely to the differential, but then also it has a attachment which goes into this piece. And basically what happens is that these two can move separately, and the motor basically decides how much it moves, or restricts the movement rather. And basically what happens inside the diff is that there's a couple of pins that run parallel to the axles, and they basically move and vary the locking force on the clutch stack. So basically, depending on what the control unit tells the servo motor to do, it will basically vary the locking force. Obviously, earlier on we mentioned about temperatures. You've got sort of like 3 important temperatures in this system. You've got the actual control unit itself, then you've got the servo motor which fits onto here, and then you've got the differential oil itself. If any one of these 3 is exceeded, and we'll put the limits somewhere in the video, basically the differential reaction time starts to increase, which obviously means you start to get some unfavorable driving characteristics, some sloppy reactions, and also the diff will also default to just being open completely. So obviously with the Wavetrac, you're not relying on any of the E-LSD parts. So what we'll do is we'll move this motor, we'll put a blanking plate on which Wavetrac have provided us with, and then we will deactivate the E-LSD in the electronics of the car, or the customer will, which will basically mean that the car will work fine with the Wavetrac differential upgrade. And obviously again, the reason why we're installing the Wavetrac is because it's the only automatic torque biased differential that can still maintain performance when axle load is lost. So obviously axle load is lost when suspension is unloaded, a wheel slip in, or you're going over the curbs on the track or off-road and the wheel starts to lift. The Wavetrac can still function and it won't perform like an open diff. Okay, yeah, so the next step is basically to take this down to the machine shop. We're going to get everything measured up and then carry out some of the machining to separate these 2 pieces. Get it separated, thread the ring gear to accept some bolts, and then start the reassembly process. Okay, so we've got the ring gear split from the original E-LSD. Obviously you just saw the process of that, the machining, because obviously the factory ring gear is friction welded to this, so we split this off. So we basically machined it here, and then that leaves us with this ring gear, and then obviously we're not going to weld it to the Wavetrac, so obviously it's been threaded as well, and then we've got some ring gear bolts, and this has been machined to spec as well, so it will fit with the Wavetrac. So this fits on simply like this. Obviously usually we would tap this on, it's quite a tight fit. We've got some replacement bearings, some replacement seals are coming as well. So we're going to get all this bolted up and fitted to the E-LSD. Obviously fit the motor cover as well, because obviously we're not going to be using that E-LSD motor anymore, and ship it out to a customer. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, then please give us a thumbs up. If you'd like to watch other videos of ours that YouTube thinks you'll like, then click up here. If you'd like to watch some other videos that we have in the same playlist, then click here. And obviously if you enjoyed the video, then we'd really appreciate if you gave us a subscription. And then obviously you'll be updated when other videos of ours go live, and you can do that quite easily by clicking here. Hope to see you soon.